Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Humanity? Yeah, today I've come again and it's about human beings. Human beings, a creation. We created that to be inhabitants of planet Earth as well as other creations. However, over the years, as I said, I presented 11 centuries of very, very deadly, destructive, deadly, man-made, conjectured ways of living on planet Earth, which were constructed under a cult, conjectured under a cult that taught men how to shed blood of one another. Yeah, we are going to discuss that today because the fact that that cult taught men how to shed blood of one another, causing of diseases from one human to the other through what you call blood transfusions. These are things which we are forbidden. These are things which are forbidden by Allah to do blood transfusion, because in the blood transfusion of a human blood transfusion from one human to the other, so many diseases cause from one person to the other. Because when Allah designed human beings, each individual as a human being has different whatever in their red and blood cells. That's why, however much you may go around the genetic language, you never find another man who has the genetics which are similar to the other man. That way, the genetic, whatever the ingenuity of the red and blood cells of every individual, they are different, even if they are twins. Even if they are twins, their genetic illustration will be different. So when the cult of death conjectured the belief, in that belief there is some of the articles of its whatever was the psychological mutilation of others. In psychological mutilation of others, you have psychological weapons. Psychological weapons which are either accompanied with a very, very derogative and very, very dirty theologies that mutilate the brains and the sanctity of the beauty of life, as it is meant, or as it was meant by Allah, who created human beings. That way, men were left to, in some European languages, you can say, men were left to dogs. Because if you lose the original way or original structure of prescription of living, description of laws and in men and women in societies, then you should discard that and say, no, we want our own way, in which some cultures within on the continent of planet Earth, on the planet Earth, they say, this is our way of life, a way of life where men can go under 365 days of the year, engaged in rehearsing and manufacturing of weapons, very deadly weapons. These are weapons of mass destruction. So with that, this was not only aimed at an ordinary common man in the jungle or on the streets of America or in London or anywhere. These are weapons or whatever were aimed mainly, purposely, at a person like me who say, look here, men and women, you are all Muslims, regardless of the color of your skin. You are Muslims, pure Muslims. You are conceived and given birth to, you arrive on this planet as Muslims. When you deviate, that's when you get diseases after disease. And in order to alleviate the pain that originates or occur in human bodies through the deviation, because any slight deviation from the divine whole prescription of laws, directives, and guidelines of Islam, that will automatically interpret itself as disease in human bodies. With that, many diseases, as I showed you, that the blood transfusion, many of the medics would say that I'm against medical ethics. No, I'm not against any medical ethics. If a human being adhered and followed the divine holy directive that governs human being, there is no way a human body blood can deplete. It can deplete, or it can kind of occur, and that person says her blood is she's become anemic. It cannot occur in a Muslim person. The same way diabetes. Diabetes is a disease which occurs in human bodies because of these are bodies which are of men and women who say they are in direct opposition, confrontation, and conflict with their own bodies, because their bodies are constructed by red and white blood cells. These red and white blood cells, the region of red and white blood cells is Islam. The same way, the religion of a tree from which a man gathers fruit, a woman gathers the tuber or the root of that fruit in order to support her life on this planet, is the religion is Islam. Once you go out of your mind and you say we are Christians, we are descendants, that's when diseases like diabetes, cancer, occur in human bodies. Because you are in confrontation, conflict, and at war with the region that constructs every muscle tissue on your body. So with that, as I said, these wars are not only occurring on a small scale, but they have made it on a large scale. The men went out of their head and said, we manufacture our weapon, nuclear warhead, worse than we insert such and such tons of destructive explosive material, which destroys trillions of living creations if it's tested on underground or anywhere. It destroys the ozone layer, it destroys anything you can think of. So with that, my people, these weapons, these are things that these people they never told you about. How do I devise governments, nations which say they have advanced technology? Do not invest in weapons, my people. Do not ever get out of your head and say you are investing in either nuclear warheads or even a shotgun like a pistol, because they're useless. They are very, very useless. They are not aimed at anybody else but yourselves, your mother, your children, your people, your own people. They're not aimed at me, because men of recent, in 2024, some militant Christian, there was a lady in Nigeria who says she's a pastor, and she's always supported by American Anglican and pastoral whatever system of opposition to Islam. That woman urinated on my prayer mat. I think that was in either, I don't remember the month. And I said for that I did send more than 20 days. I did send calamities after calamities as a warning that do not ever go out of your head and see you are fighting Islam. And those whatever occurred in countries all over the world, different calamities. So with that, in recent whatever, there's what is going on, what they call insurrection. An insurrection, the same woman is still applying these principles of wickedness against human beings. They are preaching, but at the same time, they are seeking fame. And seeking fame at the cost of, or the cost of other living human beings, by spilling blood of innocent children and women. Because most of the time, the victims of these cults are women and children. And once you attack women and children in your societies, that means the future of humanity has a very big question mark around it. And with that, the most deadliest thing is that a woman who preaches in the language of what you call the language which they are using today is an American, an English word, which which accompanied. You remember when Trump lost the elections in the year after? They call it insurrection. Insurrection. It's no longer an insurrection in politics. It's an insurrection in religious or life interpretations of how men and women should live on this planet. So, my people, for me, of recent, I was going to tell you that as this insurrection was going on, after the woman had urinated on my bed, my prayer mat, she went out as far as poisoning, putting poison in honey, honey, bee honey. Bee honey is a product of a bee. When it collects pollen, it pollinates flowers and whatever, so that human beings can get something to eat. The woman entered, because they have access to my whatever yam. I'm always surrounded by these deadly, I don't know, I call them Christian intelligence agents. They're not intelligent. They're very sick. So, with that, the woman did put poison in there, a very deadly poison which made me die more than 9 times in a single second. And they thought that I would permanently die. But what happened is that I think 3 states in America had a disastrous lots of bees that pollinate their crops. Because as I was dying as a human in a human body, the bees were dying too, because the poison they thought it was going to affect me. Then Allah said, no, you are killing yourselves as human beings, because if you kill the bees that pollinate every single grain of either wheat or whatever in America, then you are killing yourself, because if there are no bees to pollinate those things, you will starve to death. So with that, I just wanted to remind men that, my people, you are all Muslims. Do not go out of your heads and say we are fighting Islam. I'll give you one scenario which is very, very common on your patch of land where you live, and very applicable to your eyes. Whenever you turn around, there is a tree. Whenever you turn around, there is a tree around you. In the interpretations of the scared verses of the Holy Quran, a tree is a signature of Allah to human beings, saying, human beings, this tree bears fruits that are collected by men, eaten by men, even other beings that find the joy of living around in harmony with other creations. A tree is a signature which says, its stem alone, it says Islam, but it says Islam is the most holy, beautiful religion. Why me, as a tree, an apple tree, I'm able to produce these fruits in the most holy, beautiful religion of Islam, that you human beings can eat and taste the sweetness of the religion of Islam. If you turn around and say, we kill the bee, we make the man that speaks the truth about these things, and we put poison in a product of the bee that pollinates there, and that man dies, instead of he dying, the bees died in millions of them. So who is at loss? Me Oh, yes, there are men and women who say we are Christians. I tell you, human beings, I want you to put this in your head. Allah never created any human being that and says, I created you as a Christian. No. Christianity is a belief, not a religion, conjectured by men who thought that if they do as their way of life, they would defeat the beauty of the true religion of all living creatures, both on planet Earth as well as in the universe. And that's impossible. You can only defeat yourselves, but your bodies succumb to deadly cancer diseases. Deadly cancer diseases. Why? Because they bear witness. Your own body that you say you are a pastor, you are a reverend, you are a canon, you are people who say resign and say because we took children to Sunday or whatever, and then you ended up molesting those children. These are things that occur in those societies which have deviated from the truth. Because if you have within your brain, you don't rape a 5, 10-year, 8-year-old little boy and you molest that boy and say, that is out of order. Anyway, I just want to remind men, do not ever go out of your head and say you are fighting Islam, or else Mother Nature is a very, very powerful mother. If she sends a shock of an earthquake, many things will kind of drown under the rubble upon those men who say we are Christians. Because Mother Nature, when she sends an earthquake shock, it will not spare either you or what, it will just destroy a single town within a split second. Because I remember, you remember the earthquake in Turkey last year? Men asked me, well, they asked, when is this man dying? When is this man who's so-called Dawood dying? And I said to them, my people, when Dawood dies, it's not he who dies, it's you who are going to die. The men continue asking, when is he dying? Because there's a gang of men within the country of Turkey who say I should die. And I ask them, why? Dawood is the food you human beings eat on this planet. Dawood is the water that you human beings drink on this planet. Dawood is the fruits that you men and women eat on this planet. So Allah said, okay, if you say you insist that you want Dawood to die, Allah said, okay, I will show you when he's dead. Allah held this planet for less than 50 seconds. And shook the planet and he placed whatever, and if more than 55 Turkish men and women lost their lives. And then Allah said, that is Dawood. When the women, they counted the number, Allah said, then that's Dawood dead. So I send a warning to every man and woman on this planet who say, we killed in the morning, we killed in the afternoon.